You can exist for weeks without food. I could exist months without food. You can exist several days without water. You can exist a few seconds without air. But you can't live without hope. You need hope to cope. Hope keeps your soul alive. Now, most people don't understand hope. Hope is not some wishful thinking about the future, some pie in the sky and the by and by. You need hope now. You need hope today. You need hope in the morning. You need hope not because you're going to die tonight, but because you got to get up tomorrow and live. Hope is not optimism. Optimism is psychological. Hope is theological.
But I know, Jeremiah 29:11, I know. Somebody say, I know. Now this is God speaking, so the inference is you don't know, but I know the plans I have for you. And we know that in all things, this is Romans 8:28, God works together, the good and the bad, for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. I'm not nervous. I got purpose. I'm not nervous. He's got a plan. I'm not nervous. I've got a purpose. I'm not nervous. He has a plan. I'm not nervous. I have a purpose. I'm here to glorify God. I'll glorify him in a lion's den, in a fire, on a ship with a storm, or even in a borrowed grave. Jesus said, I'm not nervous. So I set my hope when it got real bad, when it seemed like it was going to be the bottom. I set my hope on the one who is higher.
And sometimes optimism just denies the fact that, yeah, life really is bad in your life at this particular moment. Hope never does that. Hope is always reality. Hope says, yep, it's bad. It's really, really bad. In fact, I don't think it's been any worse than it is right now. But I believe God can bring us through this. I believe God is in control.
As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If we think about problems and sad things and negative things, it adversely affects the release of our joy. But I'll tell you something that does release joy, and that's hope. Hope is such a powerful word. And it's not hope like the world thinks about hope. Well, I hope something good happens, but I don't know if it will or not. No, hope is an aggressive expectation that something good is about to happen to me at any moment. Hope is about your expectations. So let me ask you, what are you expecting from life? What are you expecting today? Many people don't expect anything. They just like, well, we'll see. Who knows? We'll see. Or they actually go to the worst extreme and expect bad things to happen. And I used to be like that. I'd had so many bad things happen to me in my life that I had a bad case of what the Bible calls evil forebodings. I always had like this feeling in my atmosphere, what's the next terrible thing that's going to happen in my life? And sometimes you've had so many bad things happen that you're afraid to hope because you don't want to be disappointed again. But hope is necessary even for faith. A lot of people are trying to have faith, but they don't have hope. So just for the sake of making it really simple, let's just say that hopelessness is a negative attitude, that nothing good is ever going to happen to me. But hope is an aggressively positive attitude that says, I believe God is working in my life and I am expecting something good to happen to me today.
What's going to keep your soul in the right place? What's going to cause you to overcome obstacles, reach your dreams, is when you are anchored to hope. That means no matter what you face, no matter how big the difficulty, no matter how long it's taking, you know God is still on the throne. You know His plans for you are for good, that He's bigger than any challenge. When you're anchored to this hope, nothing moves you. The winds, the waves, the storms may come. You're not worried. You have your anchor down. You receive a bad medical report. A lot of people would be upset, negative. Not you. You're anchored to hope. I know God is restoring health back into me. You go through a loss, a disappointment. Your emotions are pulling you toward discouragement, toward bitterness, but something's holding you back. You can't explain it, but down in here you hear a voice saying, everything's going to be all right. God has beauty for these ashes. That's the anchor of hope. Or maybe your dream looks impossible. Every voice tells you, it's not going to work out. Forget it. You're wasting your time. Most people would throw in the towel, but your attitude is, I may not see a way, but I know God has a way. I know He's opening doors no man can shut. When you're anchored to hope, God will make things happen that you could never make happen. I've learned there's always something trying to convince us to pull up our anchor. Delays, disappointments, bad breaks. In the tough times, when life doesn't seem fair, when your prayers weren't answered, when it's taken longer than you thought, you have to make sure to keep your anchor down. If you pull it up, you'll drift into bitterness, discouragement, self-pity. When you're anchored to hope, it's like you're tied to it. You can't go very far. You may have some negative thoughts of doubt, saying, well, it's never going to work out. But your faith will kick in. No, I know the answer's on the way.
Some of you really had a tough year. 10% of Southern California is out of work because of the recession. I'm sorry. Some of you have had a marriage fall apart. Some of you have lost a loved one. Some of you have been disappointed in a dream, in a desire, in a goal, in an ambition. And things just haven't worked out the way you wanted them to. And you're starting maybe to feel sometimes a little hopeless. It'll never change. I'll never change. Nothing's ever going to be any different. Where do you get real hope? You get it from what we're here for today. You get it from the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the central event of all history. When Jesus rose from the dead, it was the most important event ever to happen in history. Why? In fact, every time you write a date, you use Easter as the focal point. When you write April 4th, 2010, what is that? 2010 years from what? From when Jesus Christ split history into AD and BC. Even if you didn't believe in Jesus Christ, you still refer to Him every time you have a date, every time you have a birthday. Your birthday is dated by this event. Nothing is more important. Nothing is more hopeful. Nothing helps us more.
Maybe you're a little bit afraid. You're alone. You might feel exhausted or worn out. Maybe you feel like you're losing hope.
On paper, it looks like it'll take 30 years to get out of debt. You could accept it, but because you're anchored to hope, something in you says, no, I know God can accelerate it. I know He has explosive blessings coming my way. Or perhaps your children are off course. Doesn't look like they'll ever change. You should be discouraged, but you're tied to hope. Every time those negative thoughts come, trying to pull you away, your anchor kicks in.